Hello everyone, welcome to today's yoga class. For this practice, you may wish to have a couple of blocks, books, maybe a cushion to sit on. You may also want a blanket if your knee or knees experience any discomfort. Today we'll be focusing on a moon yoga sequence. So I brought my new friend here, the moon lion. You may wish to have a friend as well, as we will be balancing. Our peak pose today will be Arda Chandrasana, which is half moon, one of my favorites, because it's so challenging for me to balance. So this will be a fun, playful practice with some really nice hip openings too. So let's get onto our mat and get started. I'll bring my friend with me. I'm at the front of the mat for now, and of course Cooper wants to see him too. So come onto your mat and come and find a comfortable seated position. I'm actually going to grab a pillow to prop myself up a little bit. I find that my hips, I tend to rock backwards just because of how my hips are and everything. So if you find that, please leave Moonlight alone. He's not for you. If you find that you're rocking backwards a little bit, that might just be suggestion to sit up on something that will help your hips relax. So whether it's cross-legged, sitting on your heels, you may also choose to lay down on your back. Just let your arms, your hands rest down into your lap or on your knees. Maybe do a couple of shoulder rolls. Just feeling nice and long through our spine. And you can bring your gaze a little bit in front of you if you'd like, or you can choose to close your eyes. And just start by tuning in and taking a couple of deep breaths, perhaps in through your nose and out your mouth, in through your nose, out your mouth. In through your nose and out through your mouth. And just come back to your natural breathing, checking into your body. Noticing any sensations, whether discomfort or just something you feel. And for this practice today, we'll really be focusing on feeling, especially in our hips, opening up our hips there. And also focusing on the feeling of play and how that feels to you. In life, sometimes it may be challenging for us to feel playful. We get serious in our work and who we are as people, as beings. And having that sense of play on our mat, not taking us too seriously on our mat, will ultimately help us to bring that feeling of playfulness into our lives off of our mat. So throughout our practice today, I invite you to laugh and to feel. And always do what feels right for your body in this moment right now. Begin to deepen your breath again. Filling your belly, your sides, maybe even your back. And then exhaling out your nose. Inhaling, sending breath into your belly. Exhaling out your nose. You can start to wiggle your toes and your fingers. Maybe just kind of moving around. Again, we're focusing on just sensations and whatever feels right for us. When you're ready, you can open your eyes and we'll make our way into tabletop. Moonlight for now. So coming into tabletop, stack your hips above your knees, root the four corners of your hands into your mat, and line up your wrists with the outer edges of your shoulders. And you can have the tops of your feet resting on your mat, or you can have your toes curled under, whatever feels right for you. And we'll start first by doing a couple of hip circles, so just automatically getting into our hips. So let's start with our left leg. Just lift your left leg up, extend it back behind you, bend your knee, and then just start to move, maybe opening that hip socket up a little bit, pointing your knee up towards the sky, going however slowly or quickly you'd like. Just really getting into that joint. Keep rooting down into your fingers, your hands, maybe switching direction in your circle. And then when you're ready, place your left knee down, and we'll do the same with our right leg. So extend it back behind you, bend your right knee, and then start to draw circles with your knee. Make them as big or as small as you'd like. Keep breathing as you do this. Switch your circle direction. You might even be feeling this in your core. And then letting your knee drop down onto the mat. We'll come into fallen star, which is kind of like a half moon variation on the ground. So we'll start with our right leg. Turn your right toes so they're now off of your mat, kind of like a kickstand. So like your calf and your foot are parallel to the short edge of your mat. And you can have your toes curled under, or you can just let the top of your foot rest down. Extend your left leg back behind you and root your foot down so your foot is also parallel to the short edge of your mat. And try your best to line up your toes with your right knee. So root down into that left foot, straight leg, root down into your right hand. And you can stay here, just working on lifting your hips up. Or if it feels good, you can start to reach your left fingers up towards the sky, trying to stack your wrist, shoulder, shoulder, and wrist all up together. Keep lifting up through your hips, root down into that back edge of your left foot. Try to push your hips forward as you're lifting up. And as you breathe out, keep your hips up as you lower your left hand down. And then coming back into tabletop for a moment before doing it on the other side. So now we'll turn our left foot, our left toes out. So our bottom part of our leg is parallel to our short edge. And I'm going to put the tops of my feet on the ground. Then we'll take our left leg and extend it back. Root down, our toes point now towards the right side, and then line up your toes with your left knee. Stay here, starting to lift your hips up, push down into your pointer finger, your left pointer finger, And then maybe start to reach up with your left or right fingers. So feel your collarbones open, your shoulders away from your ears. Maybe start to look up at your right fingers. Feel your tailbone lengthen down towards the ground as you root down into the edge of your right foot. One more breath in. And as you breathe out, keep your hips up as you lower your right hand down and bring your legs back into tabletop. So finding that stable foundation again, we'll come into a couple of cat and cows. So as we breathe in, lift the top of your head and your tailbone up towards the sky. And as you breathe out, arch the back of your heart up towards the sky. Curl your chin. Inhale, let your belly drop. Lift your head and your butt up. And exhale, let your chin drop towards your chest and curl up to your angry cat. And you can continue as you inhale, lift up, and as you exhale, curl in. Or you can start to do a couple of like barrel rolls. My teacher likes to call this cleaning out the insides of a peanut butter jar. So really getting into our hips, our shoulders, neck. Just doing what feels right for you. Maybe playing around with the image of cleaning out a peanut butter jar. It's making me hungry. And when it feels right for you, you can come into your neutral tabletop and then make your way to stand. So we'll stand in the middle of our mat in Tadasana. So feet hip distance apart. Root down into the four corners of your feet. Hug your outer ankles in as you root up through, or you lift up through the tops of your inner arches. Root your tailbone down. Lift up through the sides of your waist. Feel your collarbone nice and broad as you soften your ribs in and reach up through the top of your head. Nice and strong in Tadasana. On our next inhale, sweep your arms up your sides, all the way up. And as you exhale, sweep your arms back down. Inhale, sweep your arms up, get nice and long, stretch up. And exhale, sweep them back down. Last one like this. Inhale, sweep up, reach up, root down as you reach up. And exhale, sweep your arms back down. Now inhale, sweep your arms up. And you can have your arms reaching up shoulder distance apart or clasping your fingers together. Inhale and exhale, start to lean over to the right side. So reaching through our fingers. Inhale, come back up to center, and exhale over to the left. Inhale up to center, exhale over to the right. One more time. Root down into that left foot. Inhale up to center, and exhale, reach with your fingers over to the left. And inhale, come back up. Exhale, bring your palms together towards the center of your chest. Just take a couple of moments to come back to your breath. Feeling centered. And then let your arms drop down by your sides. Place your hands on your hips. And when you're ready, either jump or step your feet out wide. Reach your arms out and do your best to line up the outer ankles with your wrists. Again, if that feels uncomfortable for you, it's too wide, You can bring it in a little bit shorter, whatever works for you. Wherever you are, turn your heels in, turn your toes out. Keep a slight bend in your knees. So we want our legs to be strong and straight, but we don't want to hyperextend our knees. That's really important. So just whatever feels right for your knees, root down into your feet. That'll help protect your knees. And then extend through your arms. And you can have your palms facing up, facing down, maybe facing forward. You might feel a nice stretch across your forearms. Inhale. And as you exhale, start to bend your knees and sink down into your legs. Bend your elbows. Come into those cactus arms. And you can stay here with your elbows like this, or you can take your hands and kind of guide your inner knees open. So really getting down into our hips now. Sink down. You can turn this into a flow if you'd like. So maybe on your inhale, slowly straighten your legs and your arms. Come back up to star. And as you exhale, bend your knees, bend your elbows, sink down. Inhale, slowly come back up. Exhale, come back down into goddess. Inhale, come back up into star, straight legs. And exhale, bring your hands on your hips. Now we'll start and turn our right toes. So they're facing that short edge right there. And our right foot this time is going to be our front foot. So this is our front foot, the front edge of our mat. Take your left toes, left foot, and pivot your foot. So your toes are either facing the left side, or they can slightly face diagonally. So not exactly towards your front corner of your mat, but maybe on a slight diagonal, just to protect your knee. But again, whatever works for you. Start to bend into your right leg. Bend a little bit, and then take your hand and actually wrap your outer hip, your butt cheek underneath you as you start to straighten your back leg, right? So we really want our pelvis to be rooting down, not shifting back, rooting down into the center. And this action here is going to help us with that. So keep turning that butt cheek underneath you, wrap it down as you straighten that back leg. Keep sinking down into your knee. Take a look at your knee. Make sure that it's tracking just above your ankle. Your chest is facing the side, and when you're ready, you can extend your arms out. Let your shoulders relax. Maybe flip your palms up. Then just flip your palms down. Reach out through your fingers. And your gaze may be just beyond your right fingers. So your feet right now are still grounded into the mat. Use your feet, kind of scrub them apart and away from one another to really root down. Ground into that outer edge of your left foot as you lengthen your tailbone down. And then lift up through the sides of your waist. You can stay here, or on your next inhale, you can start to reach your right fingers up for a peaceful warrior. And exhale, come back to your warrior two. And if you're flowing, keep your legs, your foundation exactly as it is. Sink down, inhale, reach up, exhale, come back to your warrior. On your next inhale, straighten your leg, and exhale, just let your arms drop down for a moment. Now you may wish to have a couple of blocks for this next one, so that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to take my block. We're still in our warrior two stance. If you have a block or a book, take it and place it on the inside of your right leg, just underneath your right shoulder, at whatever height feels good for you. So still rooting down into our feet. Our front heel bisects our back foot, all right? So keep a slight bend in your knee here. Again, we don't want to hyperextend our knee. So slight bend in our knee. Reach your arms out wide and start to reach with your right fingers. So reaching forward, getting nice and long in the sides of our waist. That's what's most important here. We want length, right? So reaching, keep grounding down into that back edge of your foot, reaching. And when you're ready, start to drop your right fingers, your right hand on the inside of your right knee. Push down into your right big toe to help engage the muscles around your knee. You can have your left hand on your left hip, or you can start to reach up towards the sky. Your gaze can be down at the ground, over to the side, or it can be straight up, looking up beyond your left fingers. Stack your wrist, shoulder, wrist up on top of each other, and keep grounding down into your feet. You want to feel long in all directions. We're expanding everywhere. So keep reaching through the top of your head. One more breath here. One more breath out. And then bend your right knee. As you inhale, come back up to warrior two. And then place your hands on your hips. So coming into Ardha Chandrasana, let's make a smaller warrior two stance. So we'll take our back leg and just inch it up a little bit closer. Take your block if you have one at whatever height and bring it to the right side of your right foot. So kind of at a diagonal. That's what works for me. Place your fingers on your block or the ground and start to bend a little bit into your right knee again, all right? So this is gonna be our standing leg. So when we're in Ardha Chandrasana, just like we were with warrior two, we wanna make sure our knee is staying above our ankle. We don't want it splaying out or in, okay? So as we're going up, you're gonna track your knee above your ankle. So root down into your right foot, all four corners of your foot. Start to shift forward, shifting forward into your right foot. Left leg is nice and strong as you lift it up. So flex your left foot. Try to stack your hips on top of one another. Take a look at your knee, see how it's doing. Keep rooting down into your big toe. Your right hand or your left hand can be on your hip, or you can start to extend it up. And your gaze can be down at your friend if you have one, or you can start to look up at your fingers, and I'm not going to do that. So again, play here, friends. If you fall down, that's okay. Laugh and try it again. Or laugh and say, you know what? Not today. That's okay. If you are still up, let's come back down. So start to bend your right knee, track it above your ankle, track it above your ankle, track it above your ankle, and then come back into your warrior two. All done. Let's come back down onto our mat. So swivel your hands, root down into the mat, turn your back toes forward, and then lower your back knee down, your left knee. So you may choose to have a couple of blocks here for our low lunge. If you are, place your blocks just underneath your shoulders, or if you have no blocks, make sure your hands are underneath your shoulders. Curl your toes under and start to sink your pelvis down. So sink your pelvis directly down, not shifting forward, just staying rooted down as we lift up through the sides of our waist. So we're still working, our core is working, feet are rooted down. more breath in. One more breath out. And then start to shift your hips, your pelvis back, not swinging back, just shifting slightly back so we can stack our left hip above our left knee. Bring your blocks with you or your hands. Stack your left hip above your knee. And then ground your right heel down into the mat. And as you ground your heel down, plug your right hip back and in. And you might start to feel this in the back of your leg. Start to pull your right toes back towards your shin. And you can stay here, or you can start to extend the crown of your head towards the front of your mat, and maybe slowly, very slowly, lower your chest down over your right leg. Keep your right leg nice and strong. One more breath in. One more breath out. And then come on forward again. Plant your right foot down, coming into our low lunge. And then root your hands down into the mat or your blocks. Lift your left knee up, and then bring your left foot to meet your right foot. You can take your blocks away for now. Maybe bend your knees slightly, and just let yourself fold down over your legs. So root down into your feet as your sitting bones reach up towards the sky. Let your arms relax completely. Let your head relax. You can shake yes and no. And then bend your knees just a little bit more and start to roll all the way up, nice and tall. Loop your shoulders up, back, and down. And then come to the center of your mat again. And take your blocks too, if you are using blocks, and bring them over to the other side. In mountain in the middle of our mat, facing the long edge. Place your hands on your hips, and then walk or jump your feet out wide. Turn your heels in, toes out, reach your arms out, palms facing forward, up, down, whatever works for you here. Root your tailbone down as you lift up through the sides of your waist. Inhale. And then exhale, start to sink now down into your legs, bend your knees, maybe bend your elbows, our goddess. Root down into the outer edges of your feet as you open your knees. And then on your next inhale, slowly straighten your legs and your arms. And exhale, sink back down into your legs. Looking at our knees, feeling them nice and open. Tailbone sinks down. And then inhale, come back up to center, your star. And then exhale, place your hands on your hips. And we'll do warrior two to our left foot. So our left foot's now our front foot. Turn your left toes. So now they're facing the short edge, the front edge now. And then take your right toes, your right foot, and start to pivot it. So your toes may be facing the right side directly, or you can kind of turn your heel a little bit for some more stability. Again, whatever works for you. Make sure that your front heel, your left heel, is bisecting that back foot. Yeah, and then start to bend your left knee. Bend your left knee, wrap that left butt cheek underneath you as you start to straighten that left leg. Keep rooting down into your pelvis, rooting down into your tailbone. Chest is wide open. And I'm going to turn my heel just a little bit out because I'm feeling my knee. My knee is saying, I'm not happy right now. Keep your knee, your left knee tracking over your left ankle. When you're ready, you can extend your arms out. Shoulders relaxed. Keep rooting down into your feet. Maybe gaze just beyond your left fingers. On your next inhale, you can choose to sweep your left fingers up towards the sky for a peaceful warrior. And as you exhale, come on back to your strong warrior. One more breath in. One more breath out. And then start to slowly straighten your left leg, your left knee. And then find a block and place it on the inside of your left leg, underneath your shoulder. Whatever height works for you here. And that works for me. So hands on our hips. We can extend them out. And now start to reach out with your left fingers. So reaching out, reaching out. Pelvis is shifting back slightly, but not too far back. Reaching out, nice and long through the sides of our waist. And then let your left hand drop down to the inside of your left leg. If you still feel nice and long, you can go a little bit deeper, maybe further down your leg. Keep your chest open. You can have your right fingers on your hip, finding a place that works for you, either on your shin, your ankle, a block. And then if you'd like, you can extend your right fingers up towards the sky, root down into the edge of your right foot as you lengthen your tailbone down. That'll get you some really good length. Keep extending through the top of your head, extending through your fingers. One more breath in. One more breath out. And then bend your left knee. On your next inhale, come back up to warrior two. And as you exhale, hands on your hips. And then we'll take our back leg and shift it up a little bit forward, coming into our little warrior two. And we'll take a block if you're using it and placing it on the left side of our left toes, maybe a little bit diagonally, and a couple of feet in front of us. So again, here we want to make sure our knee is staying safe. So tracking that knee above our ankle. Place your hands on the ground or on a block. I'm going to go a little bit lower this time. See how that goes. Right hand on your right hip. And right here, you can feel yourself already opening up. Your chest is open to the side. Your hip is open to the side, that right hip. I certainly feel it. Keep a nice slight bend in your left leg as you start to stack that knee. Get nice and strong, root down into that foot. And when you're ready, start to lift your right foot, flex that foot, flex that leg. All of it's working nice and strong. Stack your right hip above your left. Reach up through the top of your head. Maybe reach your right arm up towards the sky. Ardha Chandrasana is a standing pose, so it's not an arm balance. So if you feel like there's a lot of weight in your arm, your fingers, start to bend your left knee and shift back a little bit, yeah? You really want most of our weight in our legs. And I can stay up. One more breath in. One more breath out. If your right arm is up, put your fingers on your right hip. Start to bend your knee now. Bend your left knee. Track it above your ankle. Track it above your ankle. Bend, bend, bend. And come back up to your warrior two. Whew. All right, let's bring our arms, our hands down into our mat. Turn our right toes forward. And then lower your right knee down. And if you're experiencing discomfort, you can put a cushion or a blanket underneath that knee as well. Coming into our low lunge, if you'd like blocks, place them underneath your shoulders. Our right toes are curled under. And start to shift or sink your pelvis down to the ground. So we're down into that left foot. And then just feel your pelvis, your hips start to open up as you engage your core. So we're lifting straight up rather than back. Lifting straight up as our pelvis sinks down. Shoulders relaxed. Take a look at your knee. Make sure it's staying tracked above that ankle. One more breath in. One more breath out. And then slowly starting to straighten our left leg. Shift your pelvis back. Line your right hip so it stacks above your knee. Bring your blocks with you and place them underneath your shoulders. And then begin to dig your left heel into your mat. So flex your foot, reach your toes up towards the sky. Maybe start to pull them back towards your shin. Nice even hips here. And a way to tell that is if we have even shoulders. And a way to tell that is if you notice, whether your hands are in your blocks or your mat, if one hand feels like there's more weight in the other, that usually means that your shoulders are uneven, which ultimately means that your hips are uneven. So just kind of play around with that. Play around with maybe slightly rocking back and forth until you feel neutral in shoulders and hips. Keep reaching through the top of your head. Ground down into that heel as you plug that left hip back and in. One more breath in. One more breath out. And then slowly bend that left knee. Plant your left foot down. Shift on forward. Plant your hands now down into the mat. And we'll come into a tabletop position now. So we're doing whatever you need to do to get there. Take your knees out as wide as your mat. Untuck your toes. And gently push yourself back into child's pose. So hips come to our heels. Your arms can be extended out in front of you, or you can bring them to rest gently by your sides. Let your forehead rest down toward the mat. If it doesn't reach, you can have a block or a pillow. And just take a couple of deep breaths here, breathing into your belly, your sides, your back, maybe even the backs of your ribs. Feeling nice and round, like a full moon. And then slowly root your palms down into the ground to lift yourself up nice and slowly. Bring your knees together and then come on to lie on your back. You can take your blocks away. We're done with those for today. Once you get on your back, just take a couple of moments to notice how the ground feels beneath you, your lower back imprinted. And then take your arms out to a T. Bring your knees into your chest. Shift your hips slightly over to the right. And then slowly drop your knees over to the left. And you can play here in your twist. Stacking your knees and your hips will give you a more intense twist. Keeping your knees closer will also give you a more intense twist. So maybe moving away. You can choose to straighten one leg if that works. Just doing whatever you need to cool your body down. Your gaze can be up, or you can turn and look past your right shoulder. Take a couple of breaths here. And then bring your gaze directly above you. Engage your core to lift your knees up. Shift your hips over to the left now. And then slowly let your knees drop over to the right. And this is good for our internal organs, our spine. But if you're experiencing any discomfort in your back, you can choose to, again, maybe a lesser twist. So maybe propping some blankets underneath your knees, a pillow. You can bring your gaze so you look just beyond your left shoulder now. And just feel yourself sink down into your mat with every exhale. Look directly above you. Engage your core. Bring your knees back towards your chest. Give them a little squeeze by wrapping your arms around your knees. And then place your feet flat on the ground. And we'll come into one of my favorites, Happy Baby. We'll come into half Happy Baby first. And then if you're feeling good, we'll do the full version. So keep your left leg exactly as it is. Start to extend your right leg up towards the sky. And take a moment first to just notice, did my right hip come up? Does my lower back still feel grounded? And if it does, you're in a good spot. Start to bend your right knee towards your right armpit. And you can take your right hand and hold on to your shin to kind of guide your knee towards your armpit. You can hold on to maybe your ankle, maybe the outer edge of your right foot, or even your big toe. And just slowly guide that knee down towards the outside of your chest, literally into your armpit. And if you feel good here and you want to go for the full version, extend your left leg up. Start to bend that left leg, bend that left knee. And then hold on to whatever works for you, your calf, your shin, ankle, outer edge, or your big toe. And you can make your happy baby a wider stance, wider position, I suppose. You'll start to feel it in your inner hips, inner thighs. And you might notice like a baby that your tailbone is starting to tuck and reach up towards the sky. So try to lengthen it down towards the ground. You might notice a little bit more of a stretch if you do that. Or if it feels good to keep it untucked, go for it. Shine your heels up towards the sky. Breathe into your hips. You can also choose to rock side to side. And then bring your knees back together. Give them a little squeeze. And then extend your legs out nice and long. Coming into Shavasana, or resting pose. So whatever shape you'd like to be for Shavasana, you can make your legs as wide as you'd like, maybe even wider than your mat. The very same with your arms. You could do a star, whatever feels right. Push into the back of your head to lift your back up and just untuck your shoulders so they feel nice and relaxed. Your palms are open, ready to receive all that we've done in this practice. Close your eyes and just sink into the stillness. Let everything go. You're more than welcome to stay longer in Shavasana. I encourage you to do so if you have the time. If you'd like to rise with me, begin to deepen your breath. Send it all the way down into your belly. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Bring movement back into your body. You can choose to extend your arms above your head. Maybe stretch, yawn. Preparing your body to wake up again. Bring your knees into your chest. And you can turn onto your right side for a moment. And then push your left palm down into the ground to lift yourself up. And find yourself in a comfortable seated position. your palms together in the center of your chest and close your eyes. Thank yourself for taking the time today to stretch and to breathe, to play, to feel. And thank you for joining me today in this practice.